Welcome to Snack Lection! I'm Lauren, I'm a former press gallery journalist, current election enthusiast, and I'm going to help you learn what preferential voting actually is. It is time to vote for your favourite snack! Our system ensures that your vote actually counts even if your favourite doesn't win.
It's really simple, and you've probably been doing it right all along even if you weren't sure why. You simply put a number 1 next to the candidate you really want to win, you put a 2 next to your second preference, and so on. If you're stuck with a bunch of candidates you really don't like, you can start from the last and work your way backwards.
Let's go to the tally room. So here is the tally after the first round of counting. Now, it looks like Potato is the winner, right? Which is honestly surprising that anybody voted for him at all. But that's not how it works here. Now, if we were doing first past the post counting, he would be the winner because he got the most votes. But he didn't get the majority of the votes of the electorate. He got 38% of the vote, but 62% of the electorate didn't vote for him. So because nobody has gotten to 50%, we're going to need a second round of counting. What do we do first? We have to eliminate the candidate with the least amount of votes. But these votes have not gone to waste. Every single ballot will be re-examined and then redistributed to all of the second preferences that these voters have put on their forms. So let's do that. Ooh, juicy! Now this shouldn't come as a surprise, and it's kind of the whole point of preferential voting. Because somebody who voted for a Lamington is probably not going to give their second preference to a raw potato. It's clear they're somebody who likes a sweet treat. So we can assume that most of those preferences are going to go to similar candidates. We're going to have a third round of counting. Unfortunately, Cupcake, you are out. But again, these votes are not going to waste. They will be re-examined and redistributed to their second preferences. Unless, of course, some of these Cupcake voters put their Lamington as the second preference. They're both eliminated, so they would need to go on to their third preference. Da-da-da-da! Congratulations, Donut, you're our winner! That's literally how it works in the tally room, by the way. They pick up votes from an eliminated candidate and they just redistribute them onto the piles of other candidates according to the preferences. You can't waste your vote. You get the chance to vote in a candidate who reflects your values. Even if it's not the number 1 candidate you wanted, you still have a chance to influence the kind of candidate that ends up winning. You can't split the vote between similar candidates, which is something that people will say about, say, the Greens and Labor. You can vote for both. You're just preferencing one above the other. And it's fine because if one doesn't make it, the other one will get your vote. It also forces the candidates to be more broadly acceptable. They can't just hope to get more votes than anybody else. They have to get majority support. They really rely on second preferences. So they need to appeal to as many people as possible in the hopes you might put them down as number 2. Can you see how awesome it is now? This, of course, is for the House of Reps. The Senate is a completely different and very complicated system of counting because you're not voting for one person to fill one seat. You're voting for up to 6 people to fill 6 seats. So instead of awarding a seat to somebody who gets 50% of the vote, the Electoral Commission comes up with a quota. Let's say it's 10,000. If that person or that party gets 10,000 votes, congratulations, you have won a seat in the Senate. But what if they get 15,000 votes? They only needed 10,000 to get the seat, so they have a surplus. What the AEC does then is a lot of maths. They take all 15,000 of those votes and they redistribute them to the second preferences on all of those ballots, but at a reduced rate. Say it's 0.3 of a vote is then passed on to the second preferences. So your vote on the Senate paper might actually help elect more than one person. It is a very complicated and time-consuming process, and that is why we usually don't get a final result for the Senate for weeks after the election.